All right, welcome back. We're going to move on to the next part of our review for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem, and we're going to move on to plot and story. Starting with Big O, tell us what you think of the overall plot and story.
Overall plot and story with this one is definitely different. Um, it had to grow on me, but at the same time, being a big Ninja Turtles fan, I mean, hey, look, if I can, accept the last Ronin with, all the turtles, with just only being one turtle left, hey, it's a totally different story wise or different universe. So I'm approaching this universe with, trying to, you know, seeing if it resonates with me. And I feel like in this, for the plot, the turtles are looking for, acceptance and wanting to belong. They're different. The whole act of them, trying to be accepted by doing heroic deeds and stuff like that to be accepted by the humans. And it's, a coming of age story. Um, I really like the fact that they use actual teenagers because, when I really think about it, like, dang, and I look back at, even when I first started, watching Ninja Turtles and grew up on them and stuff, I really didn't get that teenage, actual, real teenage 15-year-old vibe from them. I mean, a little bit in the 80s cartoon or whatnot, but with this one is more so where it's like I feel like I'm watching like a mix of, say like the Goonies, with the Ninja Turtles, and it's like, I really felt like they captured the teenage part and what teenagers would really, go
Yeah.
through. But in their case, hey, they're mutants, they're turtles, and all. So I really felt like they captured that. I just had to suspend, my, my thinking wise of like, hey, this is what I was used to, but this is something totally different. Um, some of the things at first I wasn't, you know, uh, I didn't really want to go with, but hey, look, this is a different universe, especially with like Bebop and Rocksteady. It's like I'm so used to them being, the bad guy type thing, but now it kind of feels like they're with them so far. What's going on, really, with all the music? But it's a different take. It's to me, it's different, and I'm a big Turtles fan. Um, it grew on me. So I definitely was excited with it. And I liked it. I like the take, and I'm still interested in seeing where this universe of the Turtles is going. I mean, I know it's not everybody's taste on it and stuff like that, but for me, it rode with me. It got me, and I want to see more. And the way how I feel like it's set up is, hey, you got the TV shows that's coming out that's gonna be the little bridge and going into the next movie. So I'm excited.
All right, Johnny Mozzarella, what's your take on the plot and story?
Be nice, John. Be nice, man. They're my turtles now.
No, be
No, no,
honest.
go ahead, man.
Be
Go ahead.
honest.
Oh man, God, man, listen here. I'm not as big as fan as Orlando. Clearly, I'm a huge fan of the '90s film. Um,
Hmm.
the original being my favorite. Um, I guess iteration of them or whatever. But I really tried. I really tried to come into this because I knew there was going to change a whole bunch of stuff around. I knew it was going to be they're going to try to talk to the Gen Z generation. So, and I get all that, and I
It's really
understand all
really
that.
Gen Alpha generation, really.
Or Gen
Maybe, oh,
Alpha,
it's
right,
probably
right,
both.
right.
It's
Well,
probably young.
no,
It's probably
it's probably a mixture of both. It's
younger
probably a
Gen
mixture of
Z
both.
and older Gen Alphas. Yeah, you're right.
Right. But 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 I hated it. I mean, I think it offended me and probably on probably just every level that's imaginable. The child in me was offended. The adult in me was offended. The father in me was offended. Just about. I mean, it just offended me in every possible way. Especially when you start talking about the issues that the Gen Z generation has to deal with, what they're dealing with, and have to eventually deal with when they become adults. It's just it's a bad movie. It
Wait,
really is.
could
It's
you
really it's
expound
a
upon that? What do you mean by that?
by what
You said especially with Gen Z has to deal with. What do you mean?
uh technology, like the Gen Z generation, they have to deal with um technology way more, like, and the effects of technology on their uh the psychological well-being way more than our generation. We didn't have phones, we didn't have tablets, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have social media, we didn't have any of that stuff. So it's going to affect them moving into adulthood in ways that we haven't even seen before. Like this is like a whole new realm of psychological warfare that they have to deal with, right? And a lot of things that I think that we dealt with growing up in the '80s and the '90s, we just didn't have to. We didn't have to deal with those types of things. We didn't have to deal with these types of distractions, these types of imagery or whatever. And the stuff that we saw, it spoke to us in a certain way. Like the things that we grew up on, the things that we heard, the things that we seen. It permeated in our lives, and is why we are who we are today. Our media was much different than their media,
Mhm.
and how things are presented. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. And that's the reason why I say I was offended in so many different ways, because there's certain parts of the original movie that still stick with me. And one of the parts, well, I don't want to get too detailed into it, but there's certain things that stick with me in that movie that still speaks to me even as an adult. But when I watch this movie and I'm like, what is the memorable thing from this movie, especially from Splinter? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? What are they going to look back 10, 20 years from now when they get to be my age? What are they going to look back at this movie and be like, you know what? I remember that one part, and it was like, man, that was really strong, or that was a really powerful part, of that, or that quote really spoke to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, can't think of anything in this movie. I can't think of any scene. I can't think of any line. I can't think of anything where it's just like they can draw back on that and be like, oh yeah, I remember this from my childhood. You know what I'm saying? It was just there was just jokes
Do
the
do
entire
do
time.
you think
Everything was
do you think that Ninja Turtles has the same appeal that it had when we were, because I mean Ninja Turtles was huge when we were younger,
it was
right?
massive, massive.
So when Gen Z gets our age and they look back, they may not think about Ninja Turtles. They might think about something like Fortnite.
Maybe,
Yeah,
and
he's
that's my
definitely right
point.
Yeah.
there.
And that's my
Fortnite's more
point.
popping Ninja Turtles. He's definitely right.
Mm.
Exactly. Fortnite is more popping. But have you played Fortnite? It
Yeah,
is.
I played it. Yeah, I played it.
Yeah.
What
Bro,
did you learn from Fortnite, King?
anybody know
What
about
do you
it?
learn
Just
from?
play
What do
that
you
game
learn
at
from?
least
What do
once.
you
Like
learn
it's
from
really hard to
Fortnite? You
play.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's my
but
It's
point. That's the
yeah,
reason why I said. That's the
yeah,
reason why I said it offends me, because it, like, you have a media, movies, games, or whatever. These are the ways that you connect to the generation. This is how you connect. This is how you teach kids through art. Through media, through all. This is like your avenue. And
but but
instead,
but John, like,
instead of you
but
making
John, but
something,
John, maybe something like Fortnite doesn't have some deep profundities that the kids are gonna think back. But maybe what they'll think back on is that, man, I made all my friends. I made some of my closest friends playing Fortnite, and that's what they're gonna
maybe,
think back on. Like, you see what I'm saying?
may,
That's
yeah,
sad.
but
How's
but
that
maybe
sad? Like, if you meet
How's
your
that
closest
sad?
I
friends,
met
thank
my
you.
closest friends on TV. People I never knew, and once we finished playing, they disappeared into the
Dude, what do
ether.
you mean? The internet changed the
Well,
game. How you could talk to
no, I'm
anybody
talking
across the
about I'm
world? What are you
talking about
talking
like
about?
I'm talking about your friend. Like, you meet your friends on playing Fortnite.
Oh,
Uh,
people you already know.
yeah, you already know, and
Right.
then you create certain bonds or whatever that might last you, or you learn lessons through those bonds, even though you may not be close later on life.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm
But
saying. Like,
I can
Sometimes,
definitely tell you
I
that's
really
that's
argue.
true. I
I
wasn't
really
saying
argue that
it
point,
wasn't true.
because the lessons. I mean, playing the first person shooter, and you talk about lessons or what. I mean, it's just, you know what I mean. You're not learning anything from it. It's a
I'm
game.
not I'm
You know
not
what I'm saying?
saying,
Maybe
He's
a
not talking about
story
the game
driven
itself.
game,
He's talking
but you're
about when
talking
you're
about
playing with your friends.
multiplayer.
Yeah,
Yeah, you talk about,
multiplayer racing.
yeah, but that's what I guess that's my point. Like, you playing games with your
that's
friends. Yes,
that's not
that's a
my
different type of bonding. That's a different
I,
type
and
of
that's my
that's a
point.
different type of
That's the point I'm trying to make, though, is that, like, maybe it's just like the way they view media is just different. Because one of the
It's
things I
definitely
noticed,
different.
one of the things I noticed is that younger millennials and older Gen Zs, one of the things they're saying is that gaming isn't fun anymore. Well, it's not fun anymore because they're getting older, so they don't
Mm.
that time they
It's
have
not,
with
it's
their.
not because of that. They
Let
have
me finish
changed
what I'm
it to
saying.
make it.
No, they haven't changed. You gotten older. You've
No,
gotten
they have
older.
changed it, bro.
No, they
They
haven't.
tried to
They haven't.
monetize
They
everything.
haven't changed.
It's
Whether
getting
they're
ridiculous.
trying to monetize, you just gotten older. It's for kids. So you got to grow up. So
Yeah,
that's
they have changed it a lot. I'm sorry, but they have
that's what's
changed it a
happening.
lot.
Just like I don't go around watching Ninja Turtles movies all the time because all right, it's just, I'm 40 I'm freaking 41 years old. I got other things to do with my time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is I can think back on that time watching Ninja Turtles or whatever, and maybe there were lessons in it, but really what I liked about Ninja Turtles was that was action. It was action
Yeah.
and they were funny. Cowabunga. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that there weren't things that I could go back and say, yeah, okay, this is I could probably learn from something like that, but it was really I like the fact that I was going to the theaters with my friends and watching Ninja Turtles. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like I get what you're saying, John, but I think that just because it's different doesn't mean that it isn't going to affect them in positive ways. You know, no, because back then, was it you? Yeah, it was you, Big O. You were saying when your parents went to go take you to see Ninja Turtles, and one of the Ninja Turtles said, "Damn," and this lady picked her kids up and took her kids right out of that theater. You know what I'm saying? So it's the different.
They want to stay. Yeah.
It's a different type of like now. It's more like, okay, you probably should be monitoring what games your kids are playing because you don't know what's going to be on there. Like I get, for instance, when we were watching this movie, Mutant Mayhem, they had ODB's "Ooh Baby I Like It Raw" song playing. I'm like, that's a little, that's a little,
but yeah,
adult. It's a very adult song to have in a kids movie. You know what I'm saying? But I think the kids don't know what that means. That's for the adults. That's so that the adults can enjoy the movie too. You know what I'm saying? So I see what you're saying, John, but I don't think. I think maybe you're taking your bias and your love for the old movies and then are looking at it through that lens rather than looking at it for just what it is.
You keep saying bias, right? It has nothing to do with bias.
I mean, you're exuding bias.
I already told you I don't care about them changing the story. I care about storytelling. I care about what you're actually saying. I care about how you actually.
I mean, that was the context of what I was saying. My critique of whatever.
Well, here's my thing. Because you're saying I'm biased to the old. Look, it's 2023. Obviously, they're going to change things. Obviously, they're going to do things that are different. I don't really care about that. Now, I care to a certain degree. Because why are you calling it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles if you're just going to destroy everything that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? What's the point? Just come up with something different.
I don't think they destroy. I don't think they destroy. How did they destroy it?
They definitely didn't destroy it.
What are you talking about? Like they destroyed pretty much every character in the entire movie. Like they destroyed every character. Every character has no resemblance to what they were before. Like the characters are so bland.
Leonardo's the leader. Michelangelo is the comedian. Donatello's the smart one. Raphael is the big, rough, aggressive one. Splinter is the old, wise one. April O'Neil is the nosy reporter. I mean, what? I mean,
yeah, they had
they tweaked the characters a little bit, but I mean, it's pretty much the same characters.
No, all the turtles were bland and they were pretty much the same. All of them were jokey. All of them were making jokes.
It's for kids.
Okay.
There was nothing about the movie where you felt like, okay, well, Donatello is showing his intellect. They didn't show. They keep saying like, oh, well, Raph had these anger issues. And I was just like, well, where was he showing anger issues at? I was just like,
what he was showing, he was more aggressive.
He was joking around just as much as the rest of them.
But John, I think that's where I think Big O's. But I think that's where Big O was coming from, where he was saying they actually made these little more like teenagers. But yeah, go ahead, Big O.
But okay, yeah, it's like I see what John is saying while I was on that, but it's like I really feel like it's a mixture of like I want to say I guess the presenting the messages what they were trying to say, somehow it gets lost because I say that where it's like, okay, yeah, the turtles, they felt green at certain times and stuff, but as the movie went on, Leonardo's the leader. Eventually when things got real bad and he had to pull his brothers together, the team together, that's when he started jumping in. Okay, well, like Donnie was giving up, and then Leonardo, he was like, hey, it's like you can come up with something, you can think of something. It's a giant monster. I mean, you watch
Yeah.
Attack on the Titans, all the time. What would they do in a comic book like that? So it felt like they reference. It's like it's changed
Yeah.
up, but they're referencing what they normally would do.
I will say
and
this.
It's like Leonardo, he came in there, he sparked that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Wait. Hold on. Wait, guys. For the sake, John, for the sake of time, I'll say this, and then we're gonna move on to Uncle Dave, so we can get on to the next thing. But I'll say, what I got from this movie was that this is essentially Batman Year One for the Ninja Turtles. This is them before they become the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you see what forms them into that. So in that sense, I didn't really mind it, because I haven't really seen that story yet. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, DJ Dave Darko, please.
Yeah, I have to kind of go with Johnny Mott on it, though. I expect something, especially when we're talking about ninjutsu.
Oh God, here we go.
A little more than that. I mean, it goes back. We have this conversation all the time. Entertainment for children, when we grew up, had valuable gems in it that made us better men. This is just pure entertainment. Pure. Even, and I had to bring it up. Even
Brian, you might have missed
it.
Oh, my bad.
And how they learned how to do it. They sat around and watched old kung fu Chinese movies to learn a Japanese martial art. Come on, man. It's like when they get
it matters. I'm sorry. That's part of it. It matters.
Ninja Turtles, not karate turtles. Not kung fu turtles.
Call it something different. That's all I'm saying. Look, that's what I said. If you want to destroy it that much, you want to change it so much to be, this is 2023 and we want to speak to Gen Z, that's fine. Come up with something different. But look, who's paying for it? Who's going to the movies and paying for it? You put Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on it because you know our generation that grew up with it love it. We want to take our kids to go see it. I'm not saying you have to give us the exact same thing, but if you're going to totally destroy it, then just make something new. No, you put Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on it because you want that revenue. You want that revenue because it's an established franchise.
And then you ruin it like
then
everything else.
When you get us there, you give us this pale comparison of it, and then expect me to be like, oh yeah, I'm cool with it. No, this is garbage. You know what I'm saying? At the very end of it, it's unimaginative. It's unimaginative. And that's what I got from it, because there was no complexity to the characters. I'm sorry, there just wasn't. To me, they all seem the same. They all seem the same. Where at least in the old ones, everyone had a very distinct personality. Everyone had a very distinct personality. He's like, okay, yes, that is Leonardo. Okay, yes, this is Michelangelo. Okay, yes, this is Donatello. They all had their distinct personality. It wasn't just a headband. You know what I mean?
It showed, because one made an invention. The other one would be doing something. You could see him in there working in the lab. The other ones went in there. He's doing test tube.
Can I interject real quick?
All of them was just jokey. Like,
can I interject specifically? Well, I think we've already addressed that. I think Big O was right. They were trying to show them as actual teenagers. And that's what the way they were acting like teenagers, like young teenagers. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't have a problem with that. But I will say that we have to acknowledge that the one ninja on this panel, DJ Dave Darko, he is an actual ninja. He's an actual ninja. Now I want you to. This is what I mean by bias. They had one scene where they didn't actually show ninjutsu, even though they called ninja. So now that he totally rules it out. Now he's saying that there was no value in the story just because they didn't actually have ninjutsu. That makes no sense, Uncle Dave. Look,
it does when you call it the Ninja Turtles.
Let me finish what I'm saying. That's not what you said. You said you agree with John that there was no educational value to this, and I'm like, okay, there's a coming of age story in this. There's a father. Let me finish what I'm saying. No, I didn't say that. Oh, DJ Dave said this. DJ Dave said it. I'm repeating what he said. There was a coming of age story. There was a father having to let his sons grow up story. There's an acceptance story, accepting people who are different there's a lot of things in here I think that are good for young children that you guys miss because of your because of your because if you're 40. Let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying. Can I finish what I'm saying? 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 Because of your 40-year-old bias and your ninja bias, I
I'm
think
sorry.
you
If I go to see a
could see that.
motorcycle movie and
But
they drive
anyway,
cars the whole movie, it's not a motorcycle movie.
we're gonna move on to the. We're gonna move on to the.
I don't get it.
We're gonna
What's the
move on.
purpose of making a ninja movie with
We're
no ninja?
we're gonna move on
Hey,
to. We're gonna move on to Travis.
hey, bro, can I
Travis,
say one thing?
yeah. Go
Can I
ahead.
say
Go ahead.
one thing?
Go ahead.
Um, now I do admit now, but I had to suspend, my thinking wise in this. I done a lot of it in this movie just to try to, see it though. But the one part, because the whole time I was like, I'm seeing Splinter. I'm like, well, he doesn't know, you know, ninja
Martial
techniques and
art?
all these things and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
martial.
not
I'm like,
Master
how
Splinter.
in the world? Yeah, like how in the world is he able to teach the turtles this? But when they went out into the real world, he tried to, he didn't want to because he figured, hey, humans were all this, so he took them all out on a venture out to the humans and stuff, and then they got attacked and stuff. So then that was his motivation. Hey, I have to help protect my children. Now, for the simple fact that they use this ninja or kung fu
The Kung Fu
defense
montage.
video class. Yes, that if that was actually back in the day, that actually was videos that you could buy to teach yourself.
And
So
those
I
kids
was
got beat
like,
up.
hey,
Yeah, that's
no,
kind of
but
goofy.
suspend all that though. But it's like, okay, I see what he's doing, but it's just he's showing it being successful. But at the same time, it wasn't. I mean,
Look.
that's. I mean, I guess,
Big
yeah.
O, and John and Uncle Dave. I'll say this. I thought
Hmm.
the way they explained it was better in the original movie, in the 1990 movie,
Hmm.
because uh, Splinter was basically a rat. He was the pet of
A
of,
real master.
of a real master. So
Yeah.
he's in his cage, learning and
Yeah.
practicing what his master did. That I think was a better way of doing it. This was a more fun way
Hmm.
of doing it. I didn't have a problem with it. And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
way I
Yeah.
explained it, in my head was okay. He's a rat. He probably has more reflexes and stuff. So maybe he just picks up on it faster, or whatever. Then he taught his
Yeah.
turtles. He taught his young turtle sons the same thing after everything he learned or whatever. But let's move on to Travis. I know you haven't seen the movie yet, but what's your take? What's your take on the
I know.
conversation so
We're
far?
completely ruining this movie
I
for Travis.
No. I mean, I really appreciate and enjoy the exchange and showing seeing the passion. I mean, I can see. I have more questions now. By going to my main question, I understand. The impression I'm getting from your exchange is that you feel that Well, let me ask you this: do you feel that this was a more of a money grab for the studio,
Yep.
seeing that they're using an established IP to try to get people into the seats, and instead of trying to create something original and stuff like that? And secondly, what was the major? I'm kind of confused. I don't know what was the major theme of the film. When you were saying that it was more comedy and not enough substance to the story, that tragedy and comedy type of thing, because each is the yin and yang, they feed each other. So
Hmm.
what was the major theme of the film? I'm sorry to add
So what was the two?
comment by
Oh, wait. So
Um.
what was the two questions?
In my
No, just could you restate the two questions again?
the first question was, do you feel the film was more of a money grab, or
Okay,
or
yeah.
was it an homage to the to the Ninja Turtles? And the second part was, do you feel that what was the major theme of the film?
Okay,
I can
we're
answer.
gonna no wait we're gonna go in order, but
Oh, okay.
first we're gonna go to Carbon X first because he hasn't had a chance to talk. So Carbon X, answer those two questions because I think in answering those two questions, it'll also kind of give you your opinion of the plot and story. Go ahead.
I mean, the overall like thing of it was being accepted. That was the whole
Yeah,
thing.
I
The
agree.
entire movie was being accepted. I mean,
Yeah.
that's even how it starts. The way he learns kung fu is because the humans beat him up. It's
Yeah.
like trying to be accepted, and sometimes you might have to fight a little bit to be accepted. But if you do it the right way, hopefully you'll be accepted. Or you should be accepted. They went about doing it the right way because he had Superfly. He wanted to do it technically the wrong way. He's like, nah, we just gonna kill all the humans and we gonna take over Earth. You know.
And the inverse of that would be learning how to uh tolerate and get along with people who are different.
Tolerance.
Yeah.
Tolerance.
But
Mm.
but his second question was, do you think it was a money grab?
No, I feel like it really did good for the eyes he was trying to go for. Like a lot of the jokes they said, I understood. They definitely act like teenagers. They act like the way I was when I was a teenager, and it felt pretty relatable to me. You know, maybe their personalities were. I could tell their personalities weren't as strong as some of the other versions. But overall, to me, it definitely felt like teenagers for one. You know, but it's like we don't have like a whole TV series to give them the whole personality. You know,
All
I
right.
mean, like with the TV series.
Big O, you're next for the two questions.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Carbon is saying on that. And definitely like the message, it's definitely, you know, trying to show, acceptance. Just like Splinter, he got changed. Like hey, look, he didn't want to, you know, the turtles to his sons to sit there and be with the humans because he basically was just trying to protect them. But eventually he saw that, hey, look, his sons really want to be in their world and they really like humans, and he was like, hey, look, if my sons like y'all, then I like y'all too. But then eventually he did see that there are some good humans in there that would help them. And I think that's what gave him the heart to change. And even just like with Superfly, he was just basically telling him like, hey, look, you got the same idea as me. But then when he was seeing that basically, hey, look, this dude is hurting my sons, and and obviously he had, a different approach of dealing with the situation, just wanted to kill all the humans. But then, Splinter, he just wanted just to, stay, stay
Away
where
from.
they're at and just be away from and he just thought that was the safest way. But I felt like his sons helped open his eyes to see, hey, look, there are good humans out here, and maybe the way that you think and is wrong. So he loves his son so much, and it's just that it changed his heart. So I feel like that was shown it. And as a money grab, yeah, I mean, they're making money off of it, but at the same time, I really feel like they got other stories that they want to tell that can help them still make money off of this as well too. But I mean, I wouldn't want to say it's not all about the money, but I'm pretty. At the end of the day, they got to get paid in order to do this type of material. So it's definitely going to be money made in this.
Yeah. John, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I think the overall message is more about tolerance and not so much acceptance is what they wanted. Everyone wants to be accepted. That's the reason why I said I think I was offended on some personal levels too, because as a Black African American, um, we always are struggling to be accepted inside of a community, right? So, but you really find out that it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with that. It's about loving who you are and expressing who you are, no matter what anyone has to say. And if they accept you, fine. And if they don't, so I think the overall message is more about tolerance, being tolerant
Mm.
of the people who are around you, and just being yourself. And they're going to accept you if they want to or not. Because the end of the movie, I thought that affected me the most, because I didn't like the scene where you see Michelangelo's what do you call it, his eye
His
patch or whatever, his
mask.
mask.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When you see that fall down at the very end, and when they show you them going to school, they have like the normal human clothes on. That scene just really offended me, because it's just like, okay, now I have to acclimate myself to be inside of y'all's world. Like that just it just irked me. It's almost just like I need to cut my hair so I can go get this job. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like, no,
Mhm.
like I'm gonna wear my dreads and then I'm gonna get in where I can fit in, even if I have to do it myself. Like to me, that's a stronger message. But to go back to your question, uh, do I think it's a money grab? Of course. Anytime they're doing a remake, it's a money grab. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's an established IP, and that's with any of them: Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Star Wars, Terminator, anything that made a lot of money. It's always going to be a cash grab. I do think that they try. I do think that they did try to bring in the Gen Z or the Gen Alpha or whatever. I think the execution wasn't well done. I didn't like the execution, because I think the characters, I do honestly feel that they did destroy a lot of what made the characters who they are. And like I said, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I just have a problem with you calling the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles destroying everything. And Orlando might be right. They could be building it up, and Brian might be right. This might be year one. I thought I thought the 1990 movie was like a year one with was a year one too, because in the beginning of that movie they had their first incursion. So that was kind of like a year one. And I thought they did it well. I thought they did it much better back then than they did with this one. And I understand what Orlando's saying. They're saying that they're trying to make them more like teenagers. But here's the thing, not and it could go back to what I was saying, because they have technology, they had phones or whatever. The turtles, they had phones and stuff like that. They had technology down there. So maybe that's the reason why they were acting. But if you're living in the sewer, you're living away from people, you're not gonna act like normal teenagers. So that kind of did mess with me, because I'm like, why are they acting so much? They're acting like they do go to high school, but they don't go to high school. But only thing I can think of is like, well, maybe it's because they're on TikTok, they're on all these social medias, so they're acting like people that they see.
Can I interject?
So
Can I?
I mean, maybe
Can I
you know,
interject? Can I interject? Can I interject a
messed
little?
with me
I
a
can
little bit. Oh, go ahead.
interject a little bit with that, because I think that's kind of some bullshit, John. Because the reason why I say that is because
What's bullshit? What part of what I
well,
said
you
was
saying
bullshit?
like, well, they live in the sewer. Why are they? And the only way you can see it, they act like teenagers because they have cell phones. And the reason why I think that's kind of some bullshit is because you can go back to some of the oldest writing in the world, to freaking Samaria and Egypt, and you can find writings where parents are talking about how teenagers are acting.
No.
You see what I'm saying? So this
I'm
idea that they wouldn't act like teenagers,
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
but
What I'm
for the
saying
fact
is
that they
they're not
have
gonna
cell
act. They're
phones,
not gonna act.
it's some
Hold
goddamn
on. I'm
bullshit.
saying that they're not gonna act exactly. I'm saying that they're not gonna act exactly like how the
They
teenagers
don't.
act. I'm sorry. They're not.
They're freaking ninjas running around with masks on. Of course, they're not acting exactly like teenagers, but they're still teenagers. And I think that's kind of the point. But anyway, I'm not. Yeah. Let me move on to DJ Dave Darko. What's your answer to both of Travis's questions that he posed?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you have all of this computing power, 3D graphics, and all that stuff, why you got to go back to the 80s and get somebody else's idea? Just make something new.
Oh, Brian, you about to go on mute.
Just make something new. So yeah, it's a money grab because you don't have any new ideas that you can willing to market and sell yourself. That's going to be able to, help you make your money back, at least from the film. I can't hear myself on this anymore.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Still talking.
Okay,
We can hear
okay.
you.
Yeah, you're still talking.
Yeah. So it's definitely a money grab. It's definitely a money grab. And that seems to be the thing that everybody does now when they get into power with their creative freedom. Let's go back to the 80s and 90s and find something, make it woke, and throw it out there and see if we can get any money out of it. Versus, let's sit down and come up with a good idea, or let's find somebody who has an idea already. Like we always talk about every week. There's tons of artists. Damn it, make America Street Part 2. Or something. But you go and you find all these, this works. Maybe if we rehash this out to a younger generation of kids, they'll buy it again like the first generation did. But they took the elements out that made us buy it. That's the whole thing I think Johnny Mozzarella saying. So it's like, and I have to go back in one critical thing. I did not see Sho Kosugi one time in the field.
That's what he really cares. That's what he really cares about, by the way.
He is the biggest ninja movie director and actor ever. And if you were to build a ninja off of TV, it would be from him. Come on, guys, he made Enter the Ninja.
Yeah.
No, wait, guys. Let's move. Uncle David, moving on. So.
Go ahead.
No, what's the answer the next question?
What's the second one again?
It was what do you think was the ultimate theme?
Oh yeah, I said it, man. They try to get people to let you fit in.
All right.
I don't look like everybody else. Everybody come love me. Whatever. I tell you what. Hey, children, listen to this. If you got the power to do ninjutsu and change the world, don't worry about fitting in. Don't worry about fitting in. Make those motherfuckers obey you. If I had that kind of power, I'm not trying to fit in with my lessers. Sorry. Hate to say it like that. But goodness gracious, if I had God power, I wouldn't be trying to run with people playing silly games with high school kids. It kind of... it's something about like you said. It's something about yeah, accept us, let us fit in. That shit never happens. People will accept you when you become their equals, or you're something greater than they are. That's why you look at somebody. Your best friend could get a record deal, and you see on TV where he got signed, and now we treat him differently. You know, that's what I see when I see people trying to be accepted. Go ahead and make it. Then people have no choice but to accept you. And for the Terranos, like you guys made it. Why would you want to go do 3 years in high school when people who can't even keep their act together? You're responsible young adults.
I think April even said that. She was like, "You want to go to high school?"
Right,
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
save the
They've never
world.
been there, so they
You
don't know how
guys
bad it is.
can't get to class on time. We've been saving the world for how long now? A year or two. You don't belong in high school. That's just for what? But I digress, man. You guys,
Yeah,
Jesus take the wheel.
I'm gonna answer the two questions. The first one, as far as it being like, is it a money grab? I think it's both. I will say this: whether you like the film or not, I did see a lot of attention and care. It seemed like the people who worked on the movie cared about the movie. So I don't think it was just a money grab. I think Seth Rogen is a true fan, and I think it's both. I mean, obviously they want to make money. It's a business. They're trying to make money, and it's like John said, it's a big IP. But I saw a lot of love and care in this, even though it wasn't necessarily my cup of tea, even though I prefer the old ones too. But I'm from a different generation. You know what I'm saying? So I looked at it from that, like, okay, if I'm a kid in this generation, would I have enjoyed? I think I would have. I probably would have enjoyed this movie. So I don't have a problem with making money so long as you're bringing joy to some children. And I saw a lot of kids in there. Look, this is the first time I've ever seen black women and black girls wear Ninja Turtle t-shirts. When I was growing up, black girls just wasn't into this type of thing. They just weren't.
April O'Neil is in it.
Maybe so, but the point is, they didn't have April O'Neil shirts on. They had Ninja Turtle shirts on. You know what I'm saying?
Sell April O'Neil shirts.
They do. We just saw some on as I was pulling through. Yeah, they do sell them.
They sell them for the movie we just watched.
Yeah, I just saw some when we were. But
and somebody's gonna buy that.
But so I think that it's both. I think it was a money grab, but it's also I think it was art. I think this was real art, whether you liked it or not. I don't think I thought the Michael Bay ones was more of a money grab. I refused to watch those movies. I just refused. You know what I'm saying? This right here, I was far more into, even though it's not necessarily my cup of tea. I was far more into the Spider-Verse movies. That appealed to me more than this right here. As far as the theme, I agree with John and Caleb. I think the themes of acceptance and tolerance were both in there. I do disagree with John a little bit about the ending where you see Michelangelo's mask falling down. I don't think that was a symbol of necessarily, accept me, I want to be a part of your world. I saw that more as a father having to let his sons grow up and going into the world themselves and seeing for themselves what's in the world and how to react to it and how to grow from being in that world. Because I think if we get a sequel for this movie, they're going to see that our high school isn't all what they imagined it to be. There's going to be trials and tribulations. But I think that was showing, I got to let my sons go and do this. That's how I saw it. I think there's a lot of powerful moments. In fact, one of our criticisms was Splinter in the trailer as far as how he looked, but he became one of my favorite characters in the movie. I thought Jackie Chan did a really good job playing him. He was funny, and you see his growth as a character. I thought throughout the movie, he was probably my favorite character in the movie was Master Splinter. I agree. I didn't like the fact that they didn't do real ninjutsu, and I knew you were gonna have a bone to pick about that, Uncle Dave. But I'm sorry that. You always do that. Like it'll be like this one little thing, and it'll be like, and it just destroys the rest of the movie. But anyway, I digress. The point.
It's literally the title.
It is little because it's a kids movie.
It's literally in the title.
It's a kids movie. It's a kids movie. I mean, come on. It's like
Let's make a movie about eating food.
Uncle Dave, people
the whole
don't
movie,
take
people ride
Uncle
bicycles.
Dave. I know you find this hard to believe, but people don't take ninjas as seriously as you do. They just don't. When they hear ninja, they think karate. That's what they think. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we're gonna move on to the next.
You know what's funny? Before you move on, though, I do think that's a huge disrespect to the original creators, though, because when I was reading up on the original creators, they really had a excuse me, they really had a true respect for ninjutsu in Japan. So, like when they were writing it, they really try to keep it true to the ninjas and the jitsu, and so they made sure that they incorporate that. Now, did the '80s kids know that? Excuse me. Did the '80s kids know that? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? But to me, they showed the attention. That to me, that is showing the attention, the care of the story.
I'll say this.
Where
I'll
the
say
new
this.
one, they were just like, "Oh, we just take that name, we just put
Well,
whatever we want in there."
I'll say this.
Because we have Jackie Chan, we can just put Chinese kung fu up there.
Well, I'll say this. I will say I think that it could either break or make the second movie, because I'm like, okay, well, if they've revealed themselves to the world and they're just going to school, well, it can't really be ninjas anymore. Everyone knows who they are. I mean, it was hard to be ninjas in the first place, but one thing I liked about this movie was that they showed why Splinter taught them ninjutsu, so that they could stay concealed because they're mutants. But anyway, we're gonna move on to the next.
Yeah, we saw them concealing themselves in that karate video they was watching when they was learning to conceal themselves, right? In those white uniforms.
All I'm saying is that anyway, the point is we're gonna move on to the next. We're gonna move on to the next topic.